Hi, I'm Joshua David Bendo of Group 1 and today we are talking about fermentation. Strictly speaking, fermentation is an energy producing process that does not require oxygen to take place. It's anaerobic in nature. Bacteria, yeast, and even human cells uses fermentation to create energy in the form of ATP from sugar. Some organisms like the bacteria that can get into canned foods can cause botulism, or that lives in rust can cause tetanus. Some organisms will die if they are exposed to oxygen. They rely on fermentation for all their energy. Others can use oxygen but can switch to fermentation if the environment demands it. So to break it down, cells take the simple sugar glucose and split into a compound called pyruvate through a process called glycolysis. Then, depending on the organism, that pyruvate can go down one of two different fermentation pathways in human muscle cells and in the bacteria. That helps make yogurt. Pyruvate gets converted into lactate. You may call it lactic acid. The other pathways is used by simple cell organisms to convert pyruvate into carbon dioxide and alcohol. Humans have harnessed the fermentation power of Saccharomyces cerevisiae, a type of yeast for bread making. The yeast ferments sugar added to the dough, creating carbon dioxide, which makes the bread rise by creating lots of bubbles. The gas is phased out of the bread, but the spaces left behind by the air bubbles give us that fluffy, porous final product. And so, I explained to you the fermentation process. Later on, you will see the demonstration of fermentation by my friend from Food Science. And next, Mr. Junhi Bion will explain to you pickling.
So first, with a funnel in a 2-liter bottle, you're going to take a cup of white sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. Use bread making yeast that you can get at a grocery store. It's convenient and it works just fine. Take your funnel out and shake it to distribute the yeast throughout the sugar. Then we're going to grate 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of fresh ginger. Add more ginger if you like it spicier. Take the ginger and just stuff it in your bottle. Then add the juice of 1 lemon. Meyer lemons work great because they're pretty sweet. But, you know, whatever lemon will work. Squeeze it! And then I get to do it again. Squeeze, squeeze. You have to be strong to work these things. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. There we go. Add that to the mix in the bottle. And shake it again. Mix that stuff up. Put the funnel back in, and then fill the bottle almost to the top with water. Cap it, and shake it again. This time, give it a really vigorous shaking. Shake it, shake it, shake it. Shake it in a bowl or shake it in a tub. And then you're almost whole. That was a silly song. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. When you're done shaking it, put it someplace warm, not hot, for 24 to 48 hours. The yeast will do its thing, take up the sugar and convert it into carbon dioxide and a little bit of alcohol, but not so much that you need to worry about getting buzzed. However, you do need to be concerned with how much CO2 is being formed. Too much, and you might end up with an exploding soda bottle. So check it periodically by squeezing it with your fingers. When you can no longer dent the bottle, it's done. Stick it in the fridge to chill. The cool temperatures will slow down the yeast metabolism and the fermentation process, keeping you from having to clean up a giant mess. When it's sufficiently chilled, strain out the ginger. And drink.
Hey guys, my name is Jimmy Bion. I'll be giving you guys a brief discussion of pickling and what it basically means. Pickling is the process of preserving or expanding the lifespan of food by either anaerobic fermentation in brine or immersion in vinegar. The resulting food is called a pickle. So from here, we'll take a closer look to how these methods are being done.
Good day! I'm going to show you how to make a pickled cucumber. Make sure that your cucumber is firm and fresh.
First step is you need to cut the cucumber to any size you want. Next is you need to add the salt in the cucumber. Then make sure cucumber is covered, all cucumber is covered with the salt. Cover and leave it overnight.
So after leaving it overnight, you have to drain the excess water and then you place these cucumbers in a cold water. So these are your cucumbers or the cucumbers placed in a cold water.
So the next step would be we add the cucumbers into the jar. Step would be we add the apple cider vinegar into the jar so that the pickling process will be done. So upon filling, make sure that the jar will be airtight so as not to contaminate it. And also, the jar that should be used should have been sterilized before putting on the cucumbers. So that's it for pickling.